Cancel the season. Cancel the season. It's over. We know what's going to happen. Week 1's in the books. Cut Saquon Barkley. Get him off your team. He's trash. It's over. You wasted your top 5 pick. Saquon Barkley didn't do anything for you. Trade him away. It's over for Saquon. Or so I hear everybody say. I have seen this way too much today. What is it with people overreacting to week 1 results? I get it. There are some things that happen sometimes in week 1 that end up extending the rest of the season. But Saquon's bad performance says less about Saquon. And this is what I was talking about in the Fantasy Lounge. This is what I've been talking about on air the last couple shows as well when we bring up Barkley. It says less about Saquon and more about the situation that Saquon was in. Look, we all love, and we've all heard, and we've all followed, to some extent or another, the start your studs mantra, right? Play your studs. Vegas rule, play your studs. And for the most part, it's, there's some gray area, but for the most part, that's typically what you want to do. But I told you this week that there were 2 superstars that you needed to likely stay away from. Now, you're not benching Saquon Barkley for Salvin Ahmed, okay? You're not benching Saquon Barkley for James Conner. You're never doing that. But these were questions that were asked. Is it okay to start Saquon Barkley? And I told you the truth on the Start Sit show on Sunday. I told you the truth. I'm always going to tell you the truth. No, it was not safe. And it's not because the Giants' offensive line was good. The Giants' offensive line wasn't even good when he was the number 1 running back in fantasy. It had nothing to do with the offensive line. It had nothing to do with Daniel Jones. It had nothing to do with Saquon Barkley and his knee. What it had to do with was the fact that the coaches admitted and reporters reported Saquon was likely to see a limited role. With that information, you take that information and that is actionable information. We talk about that all the time in the Roto Bros Fantasy Lounge, which you can join, find more information, scrolling across the bottom. Check it out. You will not regret. I talk about it all the time. You're sitting there, you're watching this, you're listening to me, you're thinking about it, you want to join. Just do it. Peer pressure. Just do it. It'll be cool. Everybody's doing it. It's fun. But yeah, no, we've been talking about that in the Advice Lounge. And it was the actionable information that we received. Number 1, the limited workload. Okay? Number 2, which turned out to be true. Number 2, the Broncos defense is not a joke. They're not a joke. The Broncos defense is going to be one of the best defenses in the league. The interesting thing, and there is evidence for that statement, they were that good. And I know, Daniel Jones, Giants, whatever. Use whatever excuse. The Broncos defense is going to be a top 5 defense more than likely this season. Bradley Chubb didn't play. He didn't play on Sunday. So, this was evidence that the Broncos defense is going to be a problem all season long as they remain healthy. Because when Bradley Chubb gets back, it's only going to get more difficult. So, regardless of Chubb being active or not, Saquon Barkley was not a good start. I don't care what his projected workload would have been. Now, we know that his projected was a limited workload, so that added to it that he wasn't going to receive the vast majority of the snaps that he usually does, and he did not. Saquon Barkley played 29 snaps for a 47.5 snap percentage. Devontae Booker played 24 snaps at 39%. So they were splitting. Now look, this isn't going to... Saquon Barkley, it's arguable, but Saquon Barkley, to me, when healthy, is the most all-around, skilled, best running back in the entire NFL. The most talented running back in the league. Devontae Booker's not going to be playing nearly 40% of the snaps. He may do it for week 2 this Thursday because they are playing on a short week against the Washington football team. But Booker's not going to be a problem. So your top 5 pick in Saquon Barkley, maybe top 8 pick if he slid, it's fine. Your investment's fine. You're going to get a nice return on investment there as long as he's on the field. Because he's going to get, I don't care about the offensive line. He's going to get the work. He's going to get the touches. These first 2 weeks, they were always going to be rough. They were always going to be rough. You're playing 2 of the best overall defenses in the league right out of the gate. The best front 7 in the league is going to be playing Saquon Barkley Thursday. So if you've got Saquon Barkley, it's going to be similar. Now, I'm going to bench him in less spots than I was this past week because he came out of the week healthy. It's another week that he's on field. So he's getting more work. Another week that, a few more days of being healthy. So I'm not going to bench him as much as I was this past week. But again, it all depends on your team makeup. It depends on who are you starting over him. So don't worry about Saquon Barkley. The sky is not falling. The house isn't burning down on Saquon Barkley. He's going to be fine. But if you are really expecting Saquon Barkley coming off of an injury, reported limited workload against the Broncos defense, to have this RB1 in fantasy to have this Christian McCaffrey type of day on a short week nonetheless. It's not like they're playing Jacksonville or Houston on Thursday. They're playing Washington. So if you thought that this was just going to be normal Saquon Barkley these first 2 weeks, where were you? You weren't listening. So I don't know why you're surprised. You shouldn't be surprised. So you are going to have to tough it out for one more week. But starting in week 3, Barkley should be full systems go for his normal workload. Booker will take a heavy back seat. Gary Brightwell's not going to see 8 snaps. Elijah Penny's not going to see 3 snaps. And whoever Cullen Gillespie is probably won't even dress. But it was not pretty for Saquon Barkley. It was not pretty for him, and we knew that. 10 carries, 26 yards. 3 targets and 1 catch. I mean, he was the Aaron Rodgers of running backs on Sunday. One of the guys that I advised people to bench Saquon Barkley for was a guy where we also had actionable information. We had information where we got, 2 or 3 sleeper updates yesterday, or on was it Sunday, or maybe even Saturday night? No, it was. We got 2 or 3 sleeper updates before the game started last night. Tyson Williams, Ravens are giving him the bulk of the load. Tyson Williams going to get every chance to be the guy. Tyson Williams, coaches believe he can be the guy. He can take over this role. What did he do? 35-yard touchdown run. So he did his job. Now, we were thinking, I was thinking he was going to get, when I'm looking at all this, I'm thinking, okay, Latavius Murray's not ready yet. Bell and Freeman aren't dressing. Trenton Cannon is a nobody. Trenton Cannon's cut today, by the way. This has got 22 carries or more written all over it for Tyson Williams. Now, unfortunately for Tyson, late in the second half, he missed a key blitz pickup. And it ended up that blitz pickup, that blown assignment, ended up costing or having Lamar cough up the football, the first of 2. And so Tyson didn't see the field after that. Barely saw the field after that. So that was unfortunate. But it doesn't mean he's going to get benched next week and Latavius Murray's going to be the starter. Latavius Murray is expected to still be the backup. Tyson Williams is still expected to be the starter. So you'll be fine with Tyson. I'm going to deploy Tyson where I can next week. Now, I'm not benching Saquon Barkley for him this week. Okay? And I'm not benching other certain running backs in favor of Tyson. But now, this week is where this past week, Monday night, that's where you would treat Tyson better than you would have the rest of the season. The rest of the year, now you're treating Tyson, I think, the same way you were probably planning on treating J.K. Dobbins. You were the same way you were planning on treating Gus Edwards before Gus went down. And I had him as RB 19 to 21. Okay, so low-end RB2. That's how you're going to treat Tyson Williams. At least until we have more evidence. We have a one-game sample size. And you're saying, oh, well, Latavius Murray's the clear starter now. Look what he took over in the second half. Sure about that? Did he really take over? I don't think he did take over. Let's dive into the numbers. Tyson Williams played 35 snaps. Latavius Murray played 21. Tyson Williams, 51.5 snap percentage. Latavius Murray, 30. Latavius Murray did not receive a single target in the passing game. So that tells me that Tyson Williams is the guy that they are trusting to catch the football, as we saw 3 different times in the first half. They want to get him the football. They trust this guy. Now, look, he was a third-string running back. Is he going to be perfect? No. He blew a missed assignment. Yeah, they benched him in the second half for the most part. He came in a little bit here and there, but they benched him for the most part. So that's probably his punishment. Now it's stop, rewind, and start all over again. So Tyson should be fine moving forward. Latavius Murray doesn't scare me. I mean, did you see the numbers for these two? Latavius Murray was so inefficient, it's not even funny. 10 carries for 28 yards. Tyson Williams had 1 less carry for 65 yards. Almost 7.5 yards a carry, and he got in the end zone. 4 targets, 3 catches, 29 yards. Now, it's not the stat line that we all were hoping to have. We were hoping to have 22 carries for 90 or more yards and a score and 6 targets or something like that. But it's not a bad finishing line for a guy that was third string, getting his first start against a defense that played better than what a lot of us thought they would. So I feel like there's a lot of, when I woke up this morning, there's a lot of like Twitter chatter, and there's even some talk in the Fantasy Lounge and other platforms as well. Should we panic on Tyson? Should I trade Tyson Williams? Do I need to drop Tyson for Elijah Mitchell? No. No, you're not trying. We're talking about the starting running back for the Ravens. And even if he wasn't the starting running back, even if he was going to play the Gus Edwards role like he originally planned on after J.K. Dobbins got healthy, before Gus went down, he still got standalone value. So hold your Tyson shares. He's going to be fine. And I don't know why everybody's panicking. He was the best running back in the backfield last night. And if we noticed it, you know the coaches noticed it. Latavius Murray's not. He's like the biggest plotter in the NFL. Nobody should be surprised. Nobody should be surprised if Le'Veon Bell goes out in the next week or two and outplays Latavius Murray. Nobody. Because if you want to ask me who's got more juice left, I do believe it's Le'Veon Bell. And he can also contribute in the passing game that Latavius Murray cannot. So he's already got more value, in my opinion. But neither of these guys, and especially not Devontae Freeman, am I worried about for Tyson's workload. So good on Tyson for being a hero. I know everybody. I went nuts when he ran for 30. I was on cloud 9. And then Jim Harbaugh decided to pull all the fun. John Harbaugh decided to pull all the fun, rain on our parade, and pull him after a mistake. I get it. It's a big mistake. You're running back. You got to protect the investment. You got to protect the franchise guy. Pass blocking does matter for running backs. You put the ball on the ground and you put the quarterback in harm's way and show an inability to protect him, you will be ripped off the field. We saw that last night. With fumbles, we saw that with Ronald Jones. Didn't touch the ball after he put the ball on the ground. So those are two things a running back has to do. Now, hopefully Tyson cleans that up, because if that continues, he's not going to see the field, and you are going to have to be in panic mode over TSW. I've nicknamed him TSW. I was the first to do that. I don't care what person on Twitter may or may not have used it first. I did it first. That's my nickname. TSW is my nickname for Tyson Williams. So I'm claiming it. So, no, I think Tyson's going to be fine. I don't think you need to go out and add Latavius Murray. I think you can cut Latavius Murray, actually. Obviously, Elijah, we'll talk about the 49ers backfield here in a little bit. But, obviously, you added Latavius Murray last week for some reason. You're going to cut him this week for Elijah Mitchell. Okay? You're going to cut him for maybe Juwan Johnson. Speaking of Juwan Johnson, and I have to touch on this a little bit, because over the entire summer, everybody thought Adam Troutman was Jesus Christ reincarnated. That Adam Troutman was going to rise from the ashes and be something. He even fooled me for a couple months. And then reports started coming out that Juwan Johnson's out playing him in camp. Reports started coming out in preseason. Well, not even reports. You could see it with your own eyes. Juwan Johnson was the one playing on passing downs. Adam Troutman was blocking. So then we're all panicking. Oh, gotta get rid of Adam Troutman. I know I did. I got rid of all my shares. But there's an interesting thing going on. So before you go out and you drop a ton of coin on Juwan Johnson, I'm going to give you some actionable information to process before you make these decisions. Because I know some of you already have claims in for Juwan Johnson. Juwan Johnson, and this is almost, I don't know whether to be impressed that he scored twice or to be alarmed that he only had 12 snaps. Scored twice on 12 snaps. Wonderful. But that is not a workload that is sustainable. That is not production that is sustainable on that sort of workload. He played 12 snaps. He got 19% of the snaps. Someone asked me what Adam Troutman got. Somebody asked me. Oh, that's right, I can't hear you guys. It's just me. I'm in an echo chamber tonight. Adam Troutman, 51 snaps. 82% snap percentage. Adam Troutman played 51 snaps to Juwan Johnson's 12, and he barely did anything. Juwan Johnson's the one that everybody's going nuts because he got in the end zone twice. Is that a little bit of fool's gold? 12. If Juwan Johnson played 51 snaps and had an 82% snap percentage and scored twice, that's some information where, okay, this could be a guy that comes out of nowhere like a Robert Tonyan and just, he's this year's Robert Tonyan. There he is. But on 12 snaps, like, it's weird. It's like this Jekyll and Hyde sort of thing. On one hand, we're excited about Juwan Johnson. We want to go out and get him. Oh, we need tight end help. We waited too late on tight end in the draft. I need tight end help. Let me go get this converted wide receiver. This athletic tight end that Jameis Winston clearly is going to look for near the red zone, okay? Let me go get this guy and drop a ton of coin on him. But then on the other hand, do you want to do that when the snaps are that tilted in favor of Troutman? I mean, logic could only tell us that if this snap ratio, and look, it's 1 week, so it's a small sample size, But logic could tell us, if the ratio stays this way, 82 to 19, like, Adam Troutman's the one to own, right? Is he not? And you have to keep in mind, how long do either of these guys, how long are they going to have value? Because Michael Thomas is going to come back eventually. Marquez Callaway was a non-factor, but the good news for Marquez Callaway, ironically, is that he was covered by Jair Alexander, blanketed by these Packers cornerbacks. So he really couldn't do anything. Now that shouldn't be the case. Now we can start getting excited about Callaway again. So I think one of the big reasons for this accelerated production for Juwan Johnson was the fact that Callaway was just essentially unavailable, right? So keep that in mind. I'm not telling... Now listen, if I had to lay money down on somebody to make a bigger difference at tight end, I am going to lay my money down on the converted wide receiver, Juwan Johnson. I am. Because the fact that he was able to catch those 2 touchdowns tells us that, okay, maybe the coaching staff's going to see that. They're going to be, oh, man, this guy can go up and get it. He can high point this ball better than anybody at the position on the team. Let's give him some more reps, some more snaps. I would be willing to bet almost anything Juwan Johnson plays a lot more than 12 snaps in week 2. And maybe even Troutman snaps come down a bit. So keep that in mind. Keep both of those points in mind. I would, admittingly, I would roll the dice, in a way, on Juwan Johnson over Adam Troutman, based on what I believe is pure talent and athleticism, and the fact that he's converted wide receiver. We're talking about probably a bigger mismatch than Adam Troutman. Okay? So I would take the chance on Juwan Johnson and leave Adam Troutman to your friends and neighbors in your league. But just keep that in the back of your mind, okay? Keep that information in your back pocket that, okay, don't be surprised and don't be disappointed if in week 2, 3, 4, these snap numbers and these target numbers are near the same. Because that is not, if that stays the same, it is not production that you're going to get from Juwan Johnson. And you shouldn't expect it. 12 snaps is cut-worthy at the tight end position, especially if you're in a one tight end league. So keep that in mind. All right. There were a couple guys that I really liked this week. A couple guys that I really wanted people to play. I did think that Ramondre Stevenson was going to be more involved. I really, really did. He wasn't as involved. Now, I think that will change eventually. Damian Harris did put the ball on the ground. We'll see if he's going to be in the doghouse, in the Belichick doghouse at all. Ramondre Stevenson made some mistakes as well, so who knows what's going to happen this week. Just hold your breath with the New England backfield. But I do like Ramondre Stevenson a little more moving forward. But he didn't do anything. Tyson Williams was obviously another one I was touting very, very heavily. And Juwan Johnson was another one as well. And of course, those two guys essentially got the job done for you. Another one was Javonte Williams. And I said on the show, on the Start Sit show, I said, look, I think Javonte is going to outplay Melvin Gordon. I do. I think Javonte is going to outplay Melvin Gordon. And I think we're going to start to see this shift where Javonte Williams is going to begin almost immediately taking over as the guy in this Denver backfield. And I don't think it's going to take a very long time for that to occur because I think Javonte Williams is that talented, and he is. And you're going to look and you're going to say, well, Melvin Gordon rushed for over 100 yards, Chris, and he had that huge touchdown run. Now, doggone it, Melvin Gordon's the guy, and you jumped the gun on that. But I didn't. Because you've got to have some perspective. And I'm about to use the magic word on the Roto Bros podcast. The magic word. Are you listening, Mark? Variance. You have to remember there was variance involved here. And I think there's a misconception that I don't take variance into account. I was talking about variance over the summer on some of the solo shows before it was cool. I've got the receipts. They're publicly available. Go back and listen. But you do have to account for variance. Because there was plenty here. Melvin Gordon, 11 attempts, 101 yards, 9 yards a carry, 1 touchdown. Well, that looks good when you just look at it and paint it with a broad brush, doesn't it? Javonte Williams, 14 carries, 45 yards. No touchdowns. Well, Javonte Williams just got outplayed. I knew I made a mistake drafting him. I knew it. Damn you, Chris. But these are the short-sighted people. The ones that are saying that, these are the short-sighted people I'm talking about. And if you know if you're one of them, and I mean full offense to you if you are. No, but it's short-sighted to think that way. It's short-sighted because Javonte Williams, and I'm not really one that likes to take away production. Look, what happened, but again, it is variance. You have to think about just how much of a dice roll or a coin flip everything was that happened. Ask me how many snaps they both took. They played the exact same amount of snaps, 33 snaps, 50% snap share percentage between both of them. Demarie Crockett, the third, got no snaps. They played the exact same amount of snaps, so that tells you Javonte's already going to be plenty involved. From the jump, just like I told you. Javonte Williams, a higher touch percentage, a higher rush percentage. So Javonte Williams was used as the primary rusher, the primary ball carrier. And yes, Melvin Gordon's stat line from a broad brush was better. But if you take away, you can't take it away. But if you take away the 70-yard touchdown run where Melvin Gordon had a hole big enough to drive a bus through, Melvin Gordon had 10 carries for 31 yards and no touchdowns. Uh-oh in Colorado. Javonte Williams, you could argue, still outplayed Melvin Gordon. Based off of a variance play. Javonte Williams would have scored that touchdown had he been in on the snap. And if he didn't score the touchdown, he would have ripped a long one off. So you got to think about that as well. It's not just a matter of, oh, Melvin Gordon scored the touchdown. Melvin Gordon had the big run. Melvin Gordon got over 100 yards. He's the back to own. It's not Javonte Williams. Javonte Williams is the running back to own in this backfield. He's going to be more productive. He's more talented at this point. And he's already being used as the primary ball carrier. So do not panic on Javonte Williams. He's going to be fine. The numbers tell you that. The numbers tell you. Now look, if Melvin Gordon had rushed for 130 yards, had 2 touchdowns, and played a higher amount of snaps and had a higher touch percentage, now we're having a different conversation. But none of that was true. Melvin Gordon just so happened to be on the field during that play where he made one move, and didn't change direction the rest of the run. Runs through the hole, moves once, boom, runs in a straight line. As fast as he can. Javonte Williams would have done the same thing. He played more snaps. This is one thing that if you're going to take, look, it's a small sample size. You can't take much from week 1. You can't just go cutting everybody just because week 1 didn't turn out the way you wanted to. But we have to take whatever information we can and dissect it as best we can. Dive into it a little. Don't just look at the box score and say, well, there's the story. I mean, that's it. No. There's more to the story than just a broad box score. You have to expand that box score a bit. And these are the numbers that you get when you expand that box score. And when you expand it, Javonte Williams comes out on top, and he is still the running back that you want to have. Another running back that I loved all offseason, that I have so many shares of, DeAndre Swift. 68% of the snaps. 68% of the snaps for DeAndre Swift. But Jamal Williams started the game. Jamal Williams was heavily involved. Don't we have to worry about that, Chris? I don't know. Did you worry about Jamal Williams when when he was in Green Bay with Aaron Jones? Were you worried about Aaron Jones when Jamal Williams was in? No. He didn't do anything to harm Aaron Jones and to keep Aaron Jones from being a top 5 fantasy back the last 2 or 3 years in a row. So why do we all of a sudden, I was asking this question like 2 shows ago. Why do we all of a sudden think that it's a death blow for DeAndre Swift? DeAndre Swift showed us that it's not a death blow, and it's not a problem on Sunday. You saw his explosion. You saw why on his scouting brief 2 years ago, or a year ago, that I said he is this generation's LaShawn McCoy. 63 snaps. 68.5% of the snaps. He had a higher target share as well. So everybody was just like, oh, Jamal Williams is coming in here and he's going to take all the pass catches from DeAndre Swift. Oh my God. DeAndre Swift, higher target share. So there you go. Jamal Williams, he's going to have his touches. That's no secret. We all knew that. We knew that the day they signed him. But he has never been a super talented back. He's good he's good. He's a decent back. He's like a Latavius Murray. He's not a big difference maker. He's not going to win you a title. He's not going to, rush for 18 touchdowns. He's not going to do those kinds of things. He can come in a pinch and he can get the job done. But he's not better than DeAndre Swift. He's not more talented. He's not more skilled. And they're not going to use him more. DeAndre Swift is the guy, so don't worry about DeAndre Swift either. I'm putting out all these fires tonight. Everybody's hair's on fire with all these running backs. I want to go back real quick to Javonte Williams, because I got some stuff I got to share. If there was any doubt, if you were coming out of Sunday saying, oh, Javonte Williams is not any good, he got outplayed by dusty Melvin Gordon, you'd be mistaken. Javonte Williams is very good. Javonte Williams split the carries at North Carolina with Michael Carter and still rushed for nearly 1,200 yards and 19 touchdowns in a split backfield. That's insane production. Javonte Williams' missed tackle rate per attempt was 48%, 12 percentage points higher than the next college running back in 2020. He also broke the previous Pro Football Focus record for that stat. PFF ranked Javonte Williams as the number 1 inside zone power rusher in college last season. And now he is playing and was drafted and was traded up for in the second round to play in the exact same scheme. The Broncos finished second in the league in inside zone power runs in 2020. Cue the Oprah meme. He's only 21 years old, and he's only got 366 carries on his tires. 89th percentile agility. 71st percentile burst score. His 7.3 yards per carry was the highest among all running back prospects in this draft. Oh, you like Najee Harris better. Beat out Najee Harris there. You like Travis Etienne? Oh, he beat Travis Etienne. Beat Trey Sermon. Beat Michael Carter. He beat them all. I had to share those numbers. Javonte Williams is a problem in Denver's backfield, and you are going to be glad that you have him. So hold on to Javonte Williams. Okay, so the backfield that we're going to name the episode after, the 49ers Backfield Roulette. Okay, a lot of the Elijah Mitchell fanboys were victory lapping when the news came while I was on the air for the Start Sit show on Sunday that Trey Sermon was a healthy scratch, inactive. There was a rumor going around, oh, he missed curfew, and then there was another stupid one where it's like, oh, he got outplayed, and they just beat him out in the offseason, where all you heard all offseason, beat writers and Kyle Shanahan and all the Trey Sermon's amazing. He's doing everything right. He's being productive. Trey Sermon looked good in you never heard anything bad about Trey Sermon, which leads me to believe that no, he didn't actually get beat out. Okay, and there's interesting information coming out of the 49ers backfield today that Raheem Mostert, we knew he left the game with a knee injury. We thought he was going to be out 6 to 8 weeks. Well, guess what? He's out for the season. So now, Trey Sermon will more than likely be active. Remember, they traded up in the 3rd round for Trey Sermon. He's going to be activated. He's going to dress next week. How many snaps will he get? I have no idea. We don't know. He might play 80% snaps, and Elijah Mitchell plays 10 snaps in total. We don't know. And that would drive a lot of you crazy that are about to drop some serious coin tonight on Elijah Mitchell. So keep that in mind. I think this backfield, and look, I'm a Trey Sermon guy. I like Elijah Mitchell. I just think Trey Sermon's better. I think he's better for this scheme as well. But I do think that all of us as a collective are going to be pretty disappointed because it's going to be like the Tampa backfield. It's going to be like the Houston backfield. It's going to be where all three big three running backs in that backfield scored touchdowns in Houston, by the way. It's going to be like the New England backfield. You're just not going to know. Every week there's going to be something new. You don't know what's going to happen. So I don't think any of us are actually going to be in for a good time with this 49ers backfield like we thought we were back in May, right? So Raheem Mostert plays 4 snaps and he's out. Elijah Mitchell and Jermichael Hasty came in. They were the ones in the 1 and the 2. So Elijah plays 63% of the snaps. So he was the guy. He was the bell cow. And look, he looked good. Nobody's saying Elijah Mitchell's not good. We all said he was good. And he does fit the scheme. He's a good player. Played 35 snaps. He outsnapped even Kyle Juszczyk and Jermichael Hasty. He had 35. They had 20 and 16 respectively. Hasty's not going to be an issue. He's not somebody you need to worry about. It's going to be between Trey Sermon and it's going to be between Elijah Mitchell. These are going to be the 2 guys in this backfield moving forward. And there's people talking about JWJ, Jeffrey Wilson when he gets back. Look, that's a long way off, and he's coming off a serious injury. Like, there is no telling what's going to happen with Jeffrey Wilson Jr. You probably don't even need to worry about him. But I think Elijah and Trey are really going to battle it out to see who's going to be the main guy. But I think both of them are going to be involved the rest of the year. And it's gonna change week in and week out, I think. I don't think Elijah's going to be the guy for the rest of the year. You're going to have games where Trey outplays him. Several of them. Most of them probably, in my opinion. Now, if for some reason Trey is inactive, well, now we've got a new problem on our hands. And that's going to be alarming if he is a healthy scratch for the 2nd week in a row, which could happen. This is Kyle Shanahan we're talking about. He's got those shenanigans going on. Kyle Shanahan. So, yeah, you want to go out and you want to get Elijah Mitchell. Look, if you have Trey Sermon on your team, it's probably not going to do a whole lot of good to get you Elijah Mitchell because you're going to be they're going to be fighting each other on your team. You're not going to know who to start week in and week out. So just stick with Trey Sermon. But if you don't have either one of them, go out and drop some coin on Elijah Mitchell. I would suggest something like, an odd number. I always do an odd 27, 29, something like that. I'm not going, don't spend 76% of your fab out of 100. Come on. Be smarter than that. Be smarter than that. But this is going to be a headache backfield, and everybody needs to realize this. Everybody needs to realize this moving forward. But yes, Elijah Mitchell is going to be the number one fab, the number one free agent, waiver pickup this week. And good luck if you get him. And he might absolutely scorch the earth this year. But when you trade up for the third-round pick in Trey Sermon, a guy who fits this scheme perfectly, and we've heard nothing but good things about, and he's a healthy scratch to start week 1, maybe he yelled at a coach. I have no idea. Maybe he got an attitude with a coach. We don't actually know. We can't really believe Kyle Shanahan. Now, look, if Elijah Mitchell is still taking a heavy percent of the snaps over Trey Sermon next week, well, I think then we have our answer for the most part. Then, okay, maybe he was telling the truth about Elijah outplaying him, and they just kind of kept that under wraps all offseason somehow. But I don't think we need to be panicking on everybody wants to panic on, oh, should I drop Trey Sermon? No, you don't drop Trey Sermon. He's going to be involved heavily. Now it's just a matter of when. But I do believe just everybody calm down and take a breather. It's a small sample size. We have the numbers that we can dissect. I just dissected them for a numerous amount of backfields for you. And look, we don't exactly know. That's the bottom line. We don't know what's going to happen in week 2. We don't have in 3 and 4. We don't have enough information. But the information that we have to try to expand on that and dissect that and look at the situation, because you can't ignore the situation either. You have to take the numbers and the situation, you have to put them together. And you got to come up with something. And the odds are, from what it looks like, I love Trey Sermon this year. I think he's going to be fine. I think he's going to end up in the season as the best running back in this backfield. But the odds are that the 49ers backfield is going to be a headache all season long. And you, as a responsible fantasy owner, need to prepare for it. Thank you guys so much for hanging out and listening to the show tonight. Any questions that I didn't get to, I will get to them off air. But guys, thank you again for watching. You guys have a great night. We will talk to you guys later. I am out.